As the votes were counted inside the TCF Center, we saw some chaotic scenes outside. Paula Tillman spoke to experts to put these protests into perspective, and one says we're witnessing democracy at work.
At the TCF Center in Detroit, where vote counters have been tirelessly working, as President Donald Trump began lagging in the state of Michigan, his supporters showed up and chanted. In Arizona, as presidential candidate Joe Biden's lead began to dwindle, Trump's supporters showed up there to chant, "Where are the votes? Where are the votes?" We asked two of our favorite Oakland University professors, Dave Dulio, Director of Civic Engagement and Professor of Political Science, and Professor Aaron Dwyer from the Department of History, to weigh in on the context of what we're seeing and hearing.
With respect to the scene at the TCF Center, I wouldn't be as discouraged by it or as alarmed by it. I think we said the other day, democracy's messy. You know, these folks are there. They think they're getting a raw deal. They're down there trying to see if that's the case.
To address the president's unfounded assertion that there were not enough Republican observers watching the count, Professor Dwyer sees something else.
You're not seeing internal consistency from Arizona to Michigan because you're seeing a different problem. And
she spoke to some of her friends who are actually vote counters inside the building at the time, who say this was not about continuing democracy, but interrupting it.
A friend of mine who's a poll watcher who was inside the building said primarily why a lot of GOP representatives were getting kicked out is because they're breaking out cameras and taking cell phone pictures, taking cell phone footage, taking off their masks, even yelling racist epithets at people inside that building.
If there are rules that are being violated, that's a no-no.
There were representatives, not just from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but there were representatives who were independents, Green Party representatives, all watching that election take place, monitoring that election. I do think those crowds outside yelling to stop a Democratic voting count from taking place, I do think in 40, 50 years, those photographs of those maskless crowds yelling during a pandemic will be seen as similar to some of the pictures of crowds with Confederate flags yelling outside of school integration photographs, is the corollary that comes to mind first.
So, of course, our experts will tell you again, democracy is democracy. Protesting is part of democracy at work. Even yelling, screaming, disagreeable, not rioting. That is a conflation. That is something else. But this is part of this imperfect thing that we call democracy when you protest. However, many of those workers inside that fishbowl at TCF will tell you that there was something other than just protesting going on for a lot of those people. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to show you what it's like inside TCF last night and why some of those vote counters actually had to be convinced to stay to do their patriotic duty. Karen?
All right, we look forward to that. Thank you.